I would like to introduce Ketty Lorval, one of our social workers, to share some more of this process with you. Ketty has a degree in social work from the State University of Haiti. She worked as a social worker, accompanying women and girls who were victims of violence. Following that, she worked with a French organization, Terre des Hommes, helping minors who get released from the state prison in an effort to reunify them with their families. Ketty joined our Child Hope team in 2019. Hi, Ketty. Welcome.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Ketty, would you mind sharing why you became a social worker?
As a social worker, I've worked with children in conflict with the law. They're locked up in a half house. The conditions inside the center are not different from a prison. Some of them have been sentenced to more than 10 years of confinement. It was so sad. So I wanted to do something else like working in the prevention of the situations. I wanted to try to do my part and help with the children not know this kind of place. And here I am at Child Hope for the protection of children's rights. And my satisfaction comes down to the happiness, joy, and hope that we bring to families.
Great. Ketty, share with me what it takes to reunify a child. What does the process look like?
The process of family reunification, it comprises of several steps. First, we do family tracing. Family tracing requires going out to try to find more family history. This sometimes means taking a bus ride from Port-au-Prince across the country to follow leads. We meet as many family members as possible, parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, and other siblings. Basically, we are building the family tree. In these meetings, I often find out more information about why a child was placed in an orphanage at the first place. Many families truly believe the child will have a better life in the orphanage, and giving the child up comes at a great personal sacrifice. And most families we meet with are interested in seeing the children back and very often to desire to have the child in their home. Usually, the reunification process takes about 6 months after family tracing is complete. During that time, Child Hopes completes several assessments, which consist of identifying the needs of the family and the psychological assessment of the family. These assessments are required by the Haitian government and meet international standards as well. Parents or caregivers are led through parenting classes that highlights God's design for family and parenting. There are several meetings that take place between children and families. The first time of visit is at the orphanage under the supervision of our staff. We have several of these visits before taking the child to the family's house for afternoon visits. Again, supervised by staff. The final type of visit is an extended overnight stay with the family. Once of all is this is complete, we feel the family is ready, we reunify the child with the family.
Thank you, Ketty. Yeah, one of the most important pieces to this is the family tracing. Just finding the family. And when you do this, you find the rest of the family. You find cousins and uncles and brothers, and you might find family closer to the institution of the child. And why this is so important is because we uncover the entry story. What happened in that moment? Why did you need to give up your child to the orphanage? And what we're learning is that this is all poverty based. Most of the families, when we make contact with them, they're interested in the child, like you mentioned. They are interested in that relationship. They want to have a relationship with the child. It's not just the abandonment or neglect. It was just they don't have a vision because of the poverty. And so, well, Ketty, what happens if the family seems like they're not interested, or they might not be a good placement?
Sometimes after finding a parent, we feel it will not be in the best interest for the child to live with that parent. This could be for a number of reasons. Whatever the reasons, as long as the parent is not abusive, we still try to encourage a relationship. We are not always able to reunify, but we do always work toward reconciliation.
Right. That was one of our values as we entered into this, that that we would always be working towards reconciliation, because there's been lost time, and sometimes the family's not suitable, or the family member is not capable of caring for the child, and obviously we wouldn't do that placement, but we're always working towards reconciliation. What about the kids that are out there that don't have a family member, or if we cannot find family, like we just don't know their story of origin, we don't know where to start, 10 million people in Haiti, like what happens then?
In this case, we will not give up on the child or abandon the child. We will network with other organizations that can provide services such as foster care. An example of this is Berani Global. Berani works closely with Child Protective Services to train family for foster care and respite care. Child Hope is continually strengthening partnership with other organizations so we can provide wraparound care to children and families.
Great. Yeah, we've been really impressed by Bethany Global and how they've kind of tilled the soil. They've dug into the government to partner with them. We've learned a lot from them and watched them as they prepare families, and they are kind of spearheading a foster care program with the government. So it's our goal to get this child into a family regardless. So, well, Ketty, after you place a child back into a family, what does follow-up look like after reunification?
We check on the family regularly. We make announce visit. We are monitoring the food and nutrition, sheltering care, protection, health, including mental health and education. During these visits, we give the family resources. Due to COVID, we have purchased some funds from some families to make sure we can stay in touch even if we are unable to visit in person. We plan to graduate family after 2 years on our program, launching them into independence.
Great. Yeah, we're monitoring those 5 or 6 items, the food, nutrition, shelter care, protection, health. And what's great is we're also offering psychological care, mental health care, to both the families and the children. Well, explain to us why we plan to graduate families after 2 years.
And we're trying to help families become independent and self-sustainable. The first 2 years after reunification are the most critical. And this is the time the family needs more support. However, our goal is to have the head of household develop a business plan and find a source of revenue rather can support the family. We believe we can help family with this plan in 2 years. And after a family graduate, we will continue to pay for medical care and education and of children until they turn 18.
That's great. Yeah, we want the families to walk with God in this. We want them to be independent. We want to empower them. We don't want to create dependency. And so in our program, we have a timeline we're working off of in our aftercare, and the families know it, and we do our best to resource them during this time. Ketty, thank you so much for being on the call.
Thank you,
We
Spencer.
appreciate your work and everything you're doing to help reconcile families in
Thank
Haiti.
you.